One.
Hello, my name is Chris Foreman, and this is an evaluation of Houston Group says coastal carbon marketplace could help fight climate change. This project is being done for EVSP 628 at American Public University. The author and publishing information for this article are that the author is Travis Bubenik. I found this article on the website for Houston Public Media, which is affiliated with the University of Houston and controls a newspaper, 2 radio stations, the website, as well as a television station as well. The title is Houston Group says coastal carbon marketplace could help fight climate change, and the subtitle is The Texas Coastal Exchange seeks to connect companies or individuals with marshland owners to offset carbon emissions. This was published on April 8th, 2019 at 5 o'clock in the morning. In summary of the article, Texas is the highest carbon dioxide emitting state in the country. In an interview done with Jim Blackburn, he started a system called the Texas Coastal Exchange because he feels that too much of the discussion around carbon is negative and punitive. The basic concept of the exchange is that companies that want to offset their emissions can pay owners of marshes to not develop the land to function as a carbon offset. The scientific claim behind this is that studies have shown marshes are better at sucking up carbon on a per area basis than forest. There is no contract involved as of this moment, and all exchanges are voluntary. I should point out that on their website, there is currently only one architectural company listed as being somebody who is contributing. Some feel that even if the idea was expanded, companies would just choose to pay the money rather than actually finding ways to lower their emissions. In fact-checking the article, there were 2 claims that I wanted to get into. The first was that Texas has the highest carbon dioxide emissions, and the source listed was from the Energy Information Administration. I looked at the Energy Information Administration's website, along with the World Resources Institute and the United States EPA, and all of the data did agree that Texas is the largest carbon dioxide emitting state, and more shockingly is that it's almost twice that of California. The next claim that needed to be fact-checked was the claim that studies have shown marshes are better at sucking up carbon on a per area basis than forest. The source listed in the article here was Anna Armitage, a marine biologist at Texas A&M University at Galveston. What I found was that on a per area basis, this claim is found to be true. However, the wide gap between the amount of deforestation versus the amount of degraded marshland, the current best estimates are that the overall impact is between 3 to 17% of the impact of deforestation. So the overall problem is larger with deforestation than it is with marshland. As far as critiquing the article goes, the negatives are that there is no mention of other similar payment for ecosystem service type of plans. For example, the Forest Land Preservation Grant Program that the state of Washington has, or the many programs that are similar in developing countries. In the program in Washington state, people or groups are compensated for preserving their forests and then having them managed in a most ecosystem service friendly manner. The article mentions that other solutions will be needed to get to net zero emissions, but this program simply slows down the loss of marshes, yet does nothing to get companies to reduce their emissions in the first place. The article also does not discuss problems that other carbon offset programs have had in the past and are presently having, such as fraud and ecological issues. The 2 pictures here just show fossil fuel emissions not being lowered. And then one of the common aspects in carbon offset is to make plantations which have had ecological issues as they have been run. The positives from the article are that the author finds credible information from reliable government and academic sources. Information presented, fact checks as true. The Houston Public Media comes across as an unbiased source of information. The overall outcome of the article would likely bring about positive environmental action. The sources are local to the readers, possibly garnering more positive reaction. As for the effect on the scientific community, overall, this article would bring about a positive response for the environmental science community as a whole due to several aspects. The economic reality of the Houston, Texas area, the political makeup of the Texas area. It is not likely to elicit as much negative response as ideas like a carbon tax or the Green New Deal. It may show other possible positive ways to combat climate change and preserve habitat at the same time. And Jim Blackburn comes off as a person who is in tune with the socioeconomic and political landscape of the area. He may not be seen as an outsider trying to tell people what they need to do with their area. What I have found is throughout my journey, articles like this have shown me other possible avenues to bring about change. Too often, aspects such as solar and wind farms are talked about consistently to talk about reducing the impact of climate change, but we need to address all aspects that we can. And this is just one example of a way that we can make a small positive change. As far as the bias in this article comes across as being fairly factually based and unbiased. According to MediaBiasFactCheck.com, Houston Public Media is rated as being just towards the center from a left-center bias, so they don't really have too much of a bias overall. The article comes across as being carefully worded in an effort to not turn off some of the more right-leaning readers in an area whose economy is highly fossil fuel dependent. The quote from Jim Blackburn saying that it's negative about carbon, period, and it turns a lot of people in Texas, and I would say the central United States, off, while saying that he has the Texas answer, comes across as trying to bridge a divide. The references for this work are on the next two slides. Thank you.